Let's now do the final session, this final session is role of funding agencies towards export marketing. Moderator is Ms. Sangeeta Jain, Director, All India Association of Industries. Sangeeta ji, is she here? Okay. Mr. Rajesh Satam, Joint Director, the Cotton Textile Export Promotion Council. Mr. Rajesh Satam, are you here? Warm welcome, sir. Thank you. Mr. Ravi Gupta, Founder and Director, Safe XPay. We have a very interesting panel. I would like to also invite Mr. Humphrey for this. Please come, sir. A warm welcome. Big round of applause. I like the color of your shirt.
Thank you.
I'd like to invite Dr. Nigam. My God, this stage has seen you 1,000 times, I think, for the last 2 days. I'll give you an award for that. And Tarunji, I want you to join them. Please sit down. This is the final session today. Not Tarunji, I'm so sorry. I meant Yash. Your name is top of mind. I was thinking all the time I want to exchange cards with you, and then it came out. Thank you. Role of funding agencies towards export marketing. Tarunji, you're actually going to be on stage. Please welcome. Big round of applause for Mr. Tarun Thadani. Thank you. It makes a great stage. So this is the final session on this wonderful 2-day conclave, and I'll hand over directly to Yash ji to start and to moderate.
Good afternoon. This is our last session. I would like to thank all of you for listening to us patiently. And this session is very much essential for all of you because it talks about the export financing, export marketing. Most of us in this room, they must have listening to us from past 2 days, and we all are talking about innovation, technology, marketing, exports, various stakeholders in the value chain, from a grassroots producer to the end consumer, be it an Indian buyer or international buyer. We have amongst us one of the fashion designers from Zimbabwe, Ishmael. They have their different requirements. So here I would be talking more about the role of agencies towards export promotion, marketing of products which are being manufactured in India. Amongst us we have one of our esteemed panelists from TEXPROCIL. They have been given the mandate from the Ministry of Commerce for the export promotion of cotton textiles. So I would be beginning it with our esteemed panelist to talk about his engagement, his organization engagement towards export promotion of cotton textiles from India to other nations, and what are the initiatives, incentives or benefits which have been given by the Ministry of Commerce or through Export Promotion Council, TEXPROCIL, to the first-time exporters or the existing exporters, and how EPCs facilitate the exports from India to other parts of the world.
Thank you so much sir, for this opportunity. In fact, I am very happy to share the DS with some of our esteemed panelists, including designers and all. And probably we are the last mile in these particular transactions. Basically, EPCs, as you might be all aware, these were formulated way back in the 50s, 1950s, when the then Commerce Minister, Dr. T.K. Krishnamachari, he felt that there should be added element of quality to what we supply to our foreign customers. And there should be somebody who should be looking both towards the government for some directions and also helping our exporters to kind of meet the requirements of the market. So TEXPROCIL is one of the oldest council. So necessarily under textiles, you will find more than about 15 councils, including some of the latest ones, the technical textiles, which we saw excel during this recent pandemic times. In fact, a new segment of the industry has been brought forward, means where people did not know how to keep their factories up and running. And within a short span of time, we were able to turn around the industry and market these products. TEXPROCIL, as been pointed out, is a specialized council promoting cotton textiles export. The end products are made up something that is stitched, sewn but not worn, because for garments we have got Apparel Export Promotion Council, and we work up to the home textiles, fabrics, yarns, and of course the fiber portion of it, that is from farm to fashion. We cover the entire gamut of products. Now since I can see quite a few number of students also in this group, so I would like to just touch upon a basic point that we need to import, because we must be scarce of some of the material or some of the high costly material which we may not have enough in the country. That is why we import. But at the same time, export promotion is very essential to take your products abroad, find the right market. Then government also offers a lot of incentives for exporting out of the country. And this is not just the modern times, because if you look towards our history, even when our traders used to go, our merchants used to go, that time probably the products were limited, be it grains or cotton, the muslin cloth, which is now popular in Dhaka, but it finds its origin in north of India, northeast of India. So probably some of these products, and when they used to return, they used to be rewarded. But right now the dynamics have changed, as few of our fellow panelists will also agree, as Mr. Tarun, being a designer himself, also pointed out some time back, that this particular, it is something like a fast fashion, or you have to be quick to market. So you have to look after the entire gamut of activities when you are exporting. First, you start with the product, then you find the right market. If your product is good, it will definitely sell. Then the market has to offer you the right price. You have to offer a right price. So the entire chain. Then of course there is a lot of documentation that is involved for your own safety. Basically your product should go safe. They should be inspected before they leave. So all these particular activities, even if not primarily, but we offer a kind of a secondary support. Because what happens is you have specialized technical agencies, but due to some reasons, probably, for instance, some of our exporters pointed out that there are some random checks on part of government. Now, of course, this was a part of the protocol requirement, but then it is added cost to your entire export cycle. Then we are called in to intervene and kind of inform that, of course, this particular activity can be done differently, like having your particular inspector right at the time of stuffing this container, and that will kind of save your cost. So all these awarenesses and other kind of activities are done by our EPCs. I am very fortunate to attend this forum, and will ask our moderator to take it forward. And of course, I will be here throughout for any further questions that you like to answer. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much. The objective of the Global Trade Conclave is that how we can help the first-time exporters to learn about the nitty-gritties during exports. As you have rightly mentioned, that people are not aware about these small issues which may add on value and add on or increase their transactional cost during exports. So now I would like to ask upon our another esteemed panelist, Kanika ji, to share her experience about the products which she is manufacturing and what her experience regarding exports and how she understands the essence of export promotion councils, or has she been a member of any EPCs till now? If not, then I would say that she must take the privilege and the services offered by the EPCs to promote first-time entrepreneurs go global. Kanika ji.
Yes, thank you so much, Yash ji. That's a wonderful suggestion. I will take it up for sure. Like what I spoke yesterday also, whenever everybody sees, home fashions or home furnishings abroad, when I was, like I said, in Miami, they went ballistic, about our crafts and, things which were made by the craftsmen. So the whole thing is there has to be some kind of bridging gap, because obviously they're not so smart. And as designers, we all, have to, get them to understand the mindset that customers abroad don't want the same mold, what it was 30, 40, 50 years back. So we need to give it a new avatar. And that is where I think designers really come in. And it's a big opportunity, especially after the pandemic. We can see that customers are more, voicing their opinions much more. And India has a wealth in terms of, especially because all things handmade are a real craze abroad. So I think we should capitalize on that. Having said that, I think export promotion councils can lead the way ahead and also simplify the processes. Like, since we take a lot of women-oriented, skill crafts programs, I realized that, it's very difficult for us to leave our work and help them at various steps. So yes, I think it will be a wonderful opportunity to understand what programs the council has and take it ahead, because finally I think we all need to give back to society, and why not start from our cultural wealth, Yeah.
Thank you so much, Kanika ji. And I would like to now ask from our esteemed panelist and also a co-organizer, Dr. Nigam. He represents as a CEO of NFDI, the role of funding agencies for the first-time exporters. So if I am manufacturing an apparel and I am based out of Noida, or in Worli, I have a manufacturing unit. So the role of the banks, the role of the different schemes of the central governments like PMEGP or other schemes which have been floated state-wise by the respective state governments, how they are beneficial or effective for the startups like us who are manufacturing apparels, or say I would like to export, say, cotton from India, because it has been Maharashtra being a state where the cotton has been grown. Karnataka is another state which is second largest in India where the cotton is being grown. So how we as producers can get support through funding agencies for exports through various schemes of government, how the startups can get benefit out of it.
Good that you mentioned startups. So I'll take it from that perspective, and not from the perspective of an established organization. So the role, before we come to the role of the funding agency, we need to ensure that the organization which is producing this and is looking at exporting to a particular country is first investable before we come to picking up a loan. For me, financing comes at a much more later stage. The first stage is to use your own funds to ensure that things go. You have to have that traction on ground. If you do not have that traction on ground, why would anybody even trust you with either with public money or private money through a venture capital or an angel organization? So we need to get that piece right. And if you have to create this, and especially this is for the fashion and textile community, especially youngsters, people tend to fall in love with their products, what we can do. You do not really look at what is required from them. You need to first break that mold. You need to go out to the market and ensure your products is being purchased by someone. Maybe a small quantity. A bank or a financial institution or a government will look at your business model. Is your business model right? Or it is just the love of that particular product, or that's a negative term, but hubris, that yes, great, okay, just 5 people like it. Okay, so we need to look from that. There are, the governments would support you. There are ways to go about it. You put a particular idea through its own a process of a pre-incubation, incubation, get into an acceleration stage, get some sort of market traction. A lot of people say, you know what, I have a great idea, give me $1 million. Doesn't happen like that. What is really required is you put in that hard effort, ensure that things start inching towards reality. Okay, and once we have things which a business model is in place, some market traction is there, and then you start doing things. It's not a one-night game. It has to be much bigger than, it requires a lot of energy. People sitting here who have built business and here, they have toiled. Okay, so the question I tend to be asked, can we do it right away?
Thank you, Dr. Nigam. So now you have talked more about the forward integration, the market access. Let's talk about the backward integration. So we have a consumer, we have a buyer who's based out of Zimbabwe. He's Ishmael, a fashion designer who procures a fabric from India. Let's understand from his perspective in terms of backward integration, but how do he foresee or perceive India in terms of products which are being exported to his country?
Thank you. So as a designer in Zimbabwe, we have challenges where there are limited local fabrics that are made that are of high quality standards, like the ones from India. So we end up getting materials from here, from India. Why? Because even there in Zimbabwe, we also grow cotton, but there are no facilities or machinery to actually do the high-end quality fabrics. So we actually import from India. So now, the reason why we do that is our target market, because I do high fashion, they want top quality materials. So those have to come from elsewhere where they are properly done. And 2, the product quality matters. When it comes to business, to designing, it's not really just something that you have to take as a hobby, but it's a business, because you have to meet what the client wants and certain expectations are needed. So I also come back to the point you were saying that you need to gain market traction before an investor can come with $1 million in your business. So you need to also understand that the quality of your product matters a lot. And when it comes to getting agencies for export promotion, they look at those things: the finishing of your garments, the quality. Do you understand what you're doing? Do you understand your product? Is there a market for it? Or you only have 5 clients? Because at the end of the day, you are looking at a global kind of aspect where your products are going to other countries and not only in Zimbabwe. So for me as a designer in Zimbabwe, this is an opportunity to actually get you guys to be interested in also investing and exploiting the resources back there in Africa, because not only do we have to export fabrics from here, but we also need your expertise to even start up there in Zimbabwe to produce better quality materials to go to the rest of the world, and not only depending here on India, but you can set up factories, plant manufacturers that help and assist in those kind of things, because there in Zimbabwe we're a bit backward when it comes to textile manufacturing and product.
Thank you. Now I would like to ask the same question I throw to Tarun regarding the backward integration, your requirements vis-a-vis our production, and how do you foresee, how do you see it, and how important it is for your buyers from your country for in order to complete to focus on the quality aspect, the, as you have said, the quality, the delivery, the timing, the pricing, the certification, compliances, regulations, all those things. So how important it is in how you perceive. See, he comes from UK, and he has a very large buyers database across the world. He has, I guess, more than 7,000-8,000 buyers who are directly working under his this agency, and he's a very wonderful model. He hire freelance. He has a freelancing model where he connects with the buyers across the globe, and then through his model or his business model, anybody can approach his company, can get connected to those freelance buyers, and then can generate businesses for their own company. So please give some highlights. How do you feel, and what's your opinion in it?
So, I would like to start with saying that I think this is a great time for people right now to basically grow their business. You know, the pandemics towards the end. You know, this is a great time to approach as many buyers as you can, because they are looking, you know, all people's stores which have been closed are restarting, you know, so this is a great time overall. Once again, you have to have a good product, you know. If you don't have a good product, then don't first focus on the product. If you're making a product, quality, see, pricing I would say pricing is secondary, because there's always a buyer for a specific price, you know, so maybe the quantity would be less, but there's a pricing is always, but first make sure you can deliver a good product. You know, that's where I would start with. And you know, back to what Dr. Nigam was saying when you were talking about funding, you know, I just had something, you know, a lot of back to just the funding part, that I just wanted to say one thing, that agreed, there are a lot of these associations which you must be involved in, you know, but also I'm sure all of you are familiar with crowdfunding platforms, Kickstarter, Indiegogo. You know, they have been young entrepreneurs with zero knowledge, right, and have launched $1 million products on these platforms. I don't know if you know about the jacket. There was a jacket once that sold 3 million. You know, so there was a woman who made one of these reversible outfits which you could wear like 20 different ways. Again, sold like almost $1 million. You know, so I'm just saying is, you have to be more aware, and the good thing about being a part of the associations is because they keep giving you the regular mailers, the mailing lists, which you follow, and you can keep track of what's happening. But overall, you must be aware, and don't ever think that I don't have investment, I don't have money, I can't start right now. That's not the way, because there is a solution to everything. So, you know, if you have the right idea, even if you don't have the product, people at Kickstarter are willing to fund you, provided you give a good video, provided you give them that assurance, you know. So I just want to say that that things are looking good now after a long time, you know. Things are improving, and this is a great time for everyone who's in the business to push, you know, give an extra push and try and make the most, because the last 2 years were a little silent, you know, and this is time to just get back into, everything's coming back, you know, and which is great, and which is superb right now.
Yeah, I would want to add to what Tarun said. You know, I want to know, does the Export Council have any digital portal which shows that a craftsman is doing this in a region, you know, or this product is there? For example, now we all talk, you know, in the home segment, home textiles, we all talk of Egyptian cotton, okay, for bed linen. We're talking of 800 count Egyptian cotton. What about Indian cotton? Like, I would want to know, supposing I'm doing an entire bed collection, from the flat sheet to the fitted sheet to the duvet to the Oxford pillowcase to the bedspread, every layer of the bed linen. I want to know, even if I'm training a entrepreneur, like a craftswoman, to reinvent herself, is there any portal or something which is in sync with times, where I can Google and see, okay, ye region se ye mil raha hai, and we could direct it, and then also we can put up the stuff that which the person is selling. So that will be really great, because we all have to reinvent what we are doing. So I don't know, you can answer.
Yes.
Thank you for this question, because as I said, first I will start from what Mr. Tarun said. He definitely, as an entrepreneur, I will just put a very, on a light note, I will put the example from our historic perspective, that there was always there somebody, the Almighty Ram, correct? But then what happened is, there came a Shabri who kind of tasted all those bear and offered it to Ram, because she didn't want to offer bitter ones to him. So that is what we EPCs do on your part, sir. That we taste the bitter part of it first and inform you, and definitely you take it forward. You have your entrepreneurial talent, you know your options, what can be worked out. Secondly, as madam asked, which are the portals available and all. First and foremost, Ministry of Commerce portal itself provides you HSN wise what product is selling wherever. Secondly, you have to kind of identify your particular expertise. If you are doing more of cotton, there is something like a Cotton Textile Export Promotion Council, and there are various other kind of fiber related councils, and each of these councils have got dynamic websites which keep on updating this information for your benefits. So we are subscribed to international data, which probably will be very costly for an individual to access. But since we are a pool of individual for benefit for all, and we have all those particular mechanisms available, like an economist, data miner, who kind of sieves this particular trend. And why this membership in modern times? Because even last 2 years of crisis, where you were probably not able to visit, we had our ambassadors, our Indian missions abroad, who kindly offered something like a digital connect. We were from the Indian side putting the supply side, and they were kind of assembling the buyer side of it. And definitely these B2B platforms, we were able to do considerable kind of business. Means still, of course, shipping lines allowed us to ship it across. And of course, there have been situations which we try to bridge between the government and entrepreneurs like you, because probably individual voices take too long to hear. So what we do is we kind of develop a pool of such complaints, that this is the most significant issue of the modern times. And we try to put it in a nicer way, that along with solutions, because probably nobody has the time for 10 pages of document to be read and to act on it. But yes, probably a nice one-pager note, which through the experience we kind of bring it to government and bring it to table for discussion, creates a must for all. Secondly, I am tempted to kind of praise Dr. Nigam. Means thanks to our land, we have got Dronacharyas like him. Today, if we talk about our startup infrastructure, 21-22, we were about 14,000 startups, and about 43 have turned into unicorns. And apart from that, I'm also proud that 11,000 startups are from Maharashtra, the place where we are sitting. And definitely, country is making its prowess when it comes to exports. In fact, it was just 3 days back that there was an announcement from Office of Prime Minister that the country has achieved 400 billion export target 9 days before completion of this financial year. And we are targeting 500 billion. But definitely, markets will create situations for us, because for doing such kind of exports, we had to import something to the tune of 518 billion worth of goods. So that is 118 billion of trade surplus, which is not a good situation for economy. So what we are trying to do in the country, we are propelling our programs like Atmanirbhar Bharat, Make in India, Startup India, and even whatever infrastructure is required. Prime Minister has announced Gati Shakti, where we are integrating our entire infrastructure throughout the country. There is also a thrust on improving the manufacturing infrastructure. Like, if you must be aware, there are schemes like PLI, Product Linked Incentive Schemes, where we are trying to already we have identified something like 15 to 17 sectors, and from these particular sectors which are fast moving, we are trying to identify champion industries. Means people who can take the burden that, okay, I'll grow this product within a stipulated of time, 3 to 5 years horizon. And even government, apart from providing all kind of common facilities and other support, free of cost. Apart from that, there has been also forthcoming in terms of marketing this product by involving almost 117 of our embassies across the world to kind of identify the potential markets for our countrymen. So definitely efforts are on the part of the policy makers, but then on our part also, we have to double up our act. It's a time for our act. In fact, 3rd March, when the Prime Minister addressed the 8th session, post-budget session, in fact, it was a novel exercise. He said, we should be proud of what we make in this country, and we should feel proud not even to market it abroad, but to our fellow countrymen also. We should also give a consumption rise in the country. So definitely these are how things are panning up, and we can definitely expect ourselves to achieve the 500 billion mark, and maybe by 25-26 we should be able to reach the 5 trillion economy charter, which is a vision our Prime Minister has laid for us. Thank you.
Thank you so much. With the pace, we have touched $400 billion. I'm pretty sure that it will not take 3 years from now to even touch $5 trillion. We may even touch even a year before. This is what I personally feel. Now, coming to Ishmael, with your perspective, we would like to know that how do you see the rules, regulations of your government in terms of promoting startups and designers of your country vis-a-vis the other countries?
All right, so back then in Africa, the kind of scenario is different from here in India. There aren't really many programs.
Check 1, 2.
So back there in Zimbabwe, there aren't really many initiatives to fund startups, mainly because of the economic challenges, the social, the political. So for most of the entrepreneurs back there, we start from where we are. We start with the resources that we have. And as we grow, as your brand is growing and you get recognized, that's whereby you get some people or some investors who would want to fund you. But for most of the startups, it's quite a challenge when they want funding from the government or from the banks, because it's a very long process, and there aren't many agencies that are there to actually assist young designers who are starting to obtain funding. So that's the perspective for me in Zimbabwe, but I'm sure very soon things are going to change when it comes to the legislation of the government in terms of youth promoting youth entrepreneurs, because back there's a high rate of unemployment in Zimbabwe. So most of the youth or most of the young people, they are trying to hustle between different things. So that is the challenge back in Zimbabwe.
Yeah, these challenges are everywhere, not only in your country, even in the developed countries we have the challenges which I hear that there are still the unemployment in the developed countries as well. So these challenges remains everywhere, but the solution is that we should try to become an entrepreneur, do something by our own and create more jobs and strengthen our economy. So now I would like to ask Dr. Nigam, before we conclude this session, the closing remarks from each one of you, in terms of how do you feel your particular individual, as an individual, as an export promotion council, as an entrepreneur, or as a company who has an association of buying agents across the globe and as an institute which is promoting startups, what do you feel that the role of funding agencies or the banks or the NBFCs towards providing the capital or the finance for your businesses, for exports or to grow your venture?
From our perspective, NFDI, which is a NIFT Foundation for Design Innovation, so principal role is to bring all the stakeholders in one platform. And naturally, one of the stakeholders there are the financial agencies. But I would like to reiterate this point again, finance alone cannot solve the problem. So finance is an element which gets added on to multiple other things.
But when we talk about a startup, when we talk about exports, then what we understand, all of us here, is that our product is ready, our panel is ready, he has a unit, he is fulfilling all the compliance, he's a startup. Mostly a startup which you are dealing with or you are incubating, they all have products, a physical product, and they all looking for market. So let's talk about that perspective where you have a product, where you have a unit, where you have everything ready with you and you are going for exports. So
that's where our role has already stopped. So our role is at an early stage when we start building
acceleration.
that.
But NFDI, I think, is also into acceleration.
We are into acceleration, but when we look
Give
at that,
some highlights on that.
So when we look at acceleration piece, especially export promotion, we would connect our incubatees through the international chambers of commerce, through embassies, connect them from a market access. But once an order is received, then the banking system takes over. So what we are trying to do is link up on the Prime Minister's Employment Guarantee Program, link up with some sort of a training program. Having completed that training program, a certification gets generated. That certification would help you raise money for that. Your packing credit can come through these kind of. So our support would be to enable you, make you ready for that. So that's our take on this.
Your concluding remarks, Ishmael.
Okay, so my perspective is that they play a huge role in building up these young entrepreneurs. Why? Because we're looking at increasing our export, the abilities of our business, our products. So, like we're saying, there might be need for trainings whereby they help accelerate these designers, entrepreneurs to actually take it the step further when it comes to export marketing and all the other things. And this will then in turn help them in terms of obtaining funding. Yes.
I would come to you, sir, at the last because you are the giant from where the exports, even the approach or thinking starts, because you handhold a person from where he is, what he's thinking, you provide him with all the sufficient knowledge, provide him with all the necessary support, infrastructure, resources, including finance, and then you help him to connect with the global market. So I'll come to you at the last, sir, but before that I would like to hear the closing remarks from Kanika ji and then from Tarun.
Great. So I think it's a culmination of research, marketing, funding, and finding that perfect fit. Like what might work in Africa may not work in London or Germany. So that is very important. I think a lot of factors go to contribute and make that successful enterprise for each one of us. But more important, I think context is very important. Everything has to be in context, like what I said. I think that's about it, yeah. Like also I wanted to ask, somebody in the morning said, just going besides the point, somebody said H&M has an initiative that you bring your old clothes and then they give you some kind of, set off or a discount. Why can't councils also start something like, get your old stuff and they weave a chaddar, that dari. Like somebody, a vendor of ours in Bhiwandi, he said you can give your clothes and you can give us your design for a dari. From all that waste yarn, we will make the dari for you all. So, I mean, I don't know how small initiatives can be taken by the Export Council. But I think the first step is we are still very ignorant what the council can do for all of us. Yeah, so I think we need to educate ourselves. That is, hopefully we can log on to the website and educate ourselves. And that's the first step, and then the others will follow. Yeah.
So Kanika ji, this was the only purpose for engaging with the EPCs, the export promotion councils, is to make the spread awareness about their necessity and their existence in terms of first-time exporters, in terms of first-time exporters. Yeah, please.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree, and I think it's very important for everyone to be aware of what's happening in the world. And it just starts with going on Google and searching. If you search things, just simple things, you'll pretty much get a lot of answers. The idea is basically to constantly know what's happening. Like, you need to be aware of, okay, this is what's happening in the world, this is what's going on, these are the associations which are there, So this is a start, and remember, at the end of the day, it's a win-win for everybody, The more you, and if you don't make that initiative, you're not going to get that, you're not going to, so you have to take that initiative to either approach them, find out more, and that small initiative that you make is going to take you a long way, Thank you so much.
Now coming to you, sir, everybody would like to understand, more about this helping the first-time exporters, because she's looking for exports, but she still needs more information and all those things, sir.
Probably, ma'am, exports is a very huge expanse to take within these 5 minutes, but definitely I will try to kind of address this particular query. In fact, you should be happy to know that even these bottles are now being recycled and we are making t-shirts out of it. Even companies like Sutlej and others, and the country is having a huge infrastructure in terms of recycling. Presently, it is more operational at the NGO level. What is happening is probably there are drives within the schools where every kid, when the schools were operating, they were asked to kind of contribute a small amount of plastic or waste, if not daily, at least weekly, and some kind of a drive so that somebody wins a prize that you contributed about 2 kg of waste. The same thing is happening across societies. Through something like Rotaract activities and all. But it all ends up, because right now we are talking about sustainable goals, national developmental goals, which every country has taken to its forefront. So it's about sustainability on one side, and second is recycling. And even Tarun will agree that apart from trends in the way you cut the jeans or the fabric you use, now recycling is picking up even in the denims, because a lot of used and worn denims, as you rightfully said, these brands are recalling people. Abroad, the trends are something like they have got banks of recycled clothing. Even clothing is offered on rent. Not that something that is used is immediately put. It is ironed, washed, laundered, and then offered back to market. Vintage. Yes. So the entire story is picking up, and we are also through our digitization programs and various other programs, we are trying to catch up with the world in terms of these particular. But this has now necessarily started more of a industry initiative supported by the NGO clamps, the small special help groups. But again, it is contributing in a better way because a lot of employment generation is there. Now more than rag pickers, you can say some of the Anganwadi workers are carrying all this stuff to your factories to be recycled. So entire country is contributing to this wonderful program. Secondly, as Tarunji asked me to talk about this funding aspect, particularly in the case of exports, there are two facets of it. One is within the country, your capital requirements to fund your operations. So for small players and startups, we have got some institutions which are being revived again. Probably they did not find a mention in the medieval period because a lot of digitization took place and people were kind of banking on their mobile phones. So people somehow forgot the SIDBI which was in the neighborhood and the small institutions. For example, if you travel in an auto rig also, there will be something like a cooperative bank has funded this particular rickshaw. So the same model is coming right through the SME model also. Particularly for Maharashtra, 2 days back we were attending this particular seminar by Maharashtra Department of Industries. They have now launched a portal where you can have entire statistics, what Maharashtra is doing, what are our GI indicators. 113 products have been identified, right from your Paithani, then Sholapur Chaddar, means which are the key products of Maharashtra. So everything will come on this portal. Maharashtra itself is doing something like 20% of India's exports. That apart, so definitely they are taking a big stock of the country's target. Apart from that, we are also good contributors in terms of corporate tax because a lot of head offices are now situated, though we have taken up manufacturing to the peripherals. And in terms of financing, as we said, there are agencies and institutions that have been built by the government. Because first is your capital requirements, then once it is shipped, then there is something like an insurance requirement. So the ECGC is in action, Export Credit Guarantee Corporation, which takes care of your goods till it reaches the particular. And of course, the banks play a very pivotal role because your LCs are being opened by them. So we have got kind of arrangements between the banks, which is kind of now very much, some private banks have now offered something like banking on the mobile for the exporters. And even people like Amazon and other people who were probably previously only warehouses, now they have entered this e-commerce business also in a large way. And it is finding takers because I have been connected with them, say for last 5 years since they started operations in textiles. And now for themselves also, they are looking towards integrating this small weaver, somebody sitting in Rajasthan with probably a buyer in UK, and every particular cost. Of course, initially the cost is a little higher, means the kind of returns that you draw from these people. But definitely you understand the modus operandi, how your product reaches this particular market. And definitely for you, then these government mechanisms are available, which you can available of. And plus, we councils are always there, always ready to serve you with a smile. And for any guidance, feel free to log into our websites catch up your phones, get in touch with us, and we'll be always there to help you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I would like now Sonia to facilitate our guest on a dais. I would request Saurabh to join us. I would also request our supporting partner from Central Silk Board, Alok ji, to join us. So Alok ji represent a Central Silk Board and he takes care of the complete entire state of Maharashtra. Can we have a picture, please, with Rajesh ji, all of us?
And we'd now like to acknowledge Mr. Rajesh Satam, Joint Director of the Cotton Textile Export Promotion Council, please. So, Yash ji and other friends will please acknowledge. Thank you, sir. Mr. Rajesh Satam, Joint Director, the Cotton Textiles Export Promotion Council, and various members on the dais. Thank you very much for your esteemed presence here today and both the days, which made a big difference in this wonderful conclave. GlobalSpin, what a great name, Trade Conclave. A big round of applause. Yeah, and pictures, smile. Me join in? Okay, thank you. I facilitated him. But you can do it again. When he spoke that time, I didn't even know. As we acknowledge Saurabh ji. Here we acknowledge Saurabh ji. Give him a big round. Saurabh Shivaji Wagh, Chief Technology Officer, Tsakatsa.